Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart, and today I'll be breaking down the 8-game NBA slates we have here on DraftKings for Monday night. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be going over my favorite spin-up plays, some mid-range plays, and some value plays we could look at for our lineups tonight. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, HartDFS, and I'll see you guys in the slate breakdown. This is going to be a pretty quick breakdown, guys. Was pretty sick yesterday, pretty sick today. Don't have a ton of energy, so I do apologize, but I'll get this out there. Don't think I'll be able to do a write-up for tonight, but I should be back on track tomorrow with a video and a write-up for tomorrow. So make sure to check that out on my Patreon for tomorrow's slate. But for today, just going to do a quick video, quick breakdown of the slate. We kind of know where the value is going to come from. Obviously, Indiana looks like the value, and then from there, it's just kind of what stud you want to pay up for. You can definitely go mid-range today. Do think there's a decent amount of options to have like a, few 6, 7, 8K guys in there to take down for tonight. So for this first game, Clippers and Charlotte, obviously the big news is Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. If they're in, it takes a lot of interest away from pretty much everyone on the team for me on the Clippers. They'll probably be limited, probably 15, 20 minutes, maybe 25 at most for a guy like Paul George. But their price tags don't really think that's appealing. And, obviously with limited minutes, they don't have a ceiling. So especially with those price tags, don't think they're in play. Same with the rest of the team. If those guys are back, it just takes a ton of interest away from any of these guys on the Clippers side for me. Well, so let's keep an eye on the news there. On Charlotte, it's, really just Rozier and PJ for me. The secondary plays would be Kelly Oubre and Plumlee. They do have some upside. Kelly's going to play a ton of minutes, going to shoot the ball a ton, but a little bit scoring dependent. With Rozier at that price tag, it really just depends if he hits his shot. Really hasn't been hitting his shot at all this year, but he does have some good upside if he's getting those assists and rebounds. So I do like him a good amount. I talked about PJ coming off a terrible shooting game, still got 28 fantasy points, so he's a decent play there. Don't feel great, obviously, playing him at 5,600, even though it's a solid price tag because it's PJ Washington, but has some upside, so I don't mind him, especially if I want to buy low off that terrible shooting night. Plumlee has a good upside as well, so yeah, that's kind of it. No real standouts for me. Just kind of, if you fall on them, you play them. Excuse me. Milwaukee, Giannis, he should be obviously great matchup. You just hope this game stays close. So he looks fantastic if you want to fit him into your lineup. Really like Drew Holiday there at 7,400. Middleton came back, played 27 minutes. He should hopefully see around 30. Don't think you need to take a shot on him yet unless they lift his minutes. Because if they do, he looks great there at 7,200. But yeah, it's really just the big three for me. Bobby's just more of a secondary play. Price is kind of up there. Brook Lopez is questionable. We'll see. I think he should be good to go for rest purposes. But yeah, he does have some upside. Obviously, with the blocks, he could go out there and get like 10 blocks. So yeah, it's just kind of a coin flip for me if I want to roster these guys. But there's no real standouts besides Pat Connaughton as a value play there. Seen about 20 minutes at 3,200. On the Orlando side, Paolo, it's just, decent price tag for him. You don't feel great with any of these guys trying to guard Giannis or even Drew or even Chris Middleton. As I said, as I keep talking about, you really hope this game stays close. Otherwise, it's going to just be a blowout. But yeah, I guess Paolo looks okay. Bol, same thing. Franz would maybe be my favorite play there. Minutes were down in that blowout against Toronto, but he should see at least 30. But with everyone kind of back, Bamba, if he's back, takes Mo Wagner out of play. There's just not really any standouts. I guess Fultz, if he plays closer to 30 minutes, only played 19 in that semi-blowout / back-to-back. So I'd say he'd be my favorite price tag. That's really it. I guess Terrence Ross is always a dart throw there. Boston, Toronto should be, a good game. We know what we're getting from Tatum and Brown. Tatum obviously has a huge, pretty safe floor and a huge ceiling. If he's hitting the shots, he's going to play a ton of minutes. Same thing with Brown. He's been the better of the two. So ownership will tend to go to Brown over Tatum, especially at that price tag. But yeah, I do have a good amount of interest in both. I guess I'd slightly prefer Brown just because of that, huge price discount. Smart, always a contrarian play in a tournament setting. Should see the minutes. It just comes down to if he's hitting the shots and wants to be aggressive offensively. Al Horford out. We should see Grant Williams most likely starting. He looks solid there at 4,800. White, I'd say he's only viable if Brogdon misses. He is questionable. If he's good to go, I think Brogdon looks decent there, 5,000. nice to see 32 minutes out of him. Usually he's kind of floating around 23 to 26, 27. So he is risky, but that price tag is very, very solid there. But obviously if he's out, do like White a good amount. Should be a little bit more minutes for Smart as well. So we'll have to monitor that situation. The rest of the team, Blake Griffin most likely will see the start, but they're not going to close with him. He's just more of a dart throw. Toronto side, the only interest for me really is Pascal running it back with my boy, coming off almost a 60-point triple-double. He looks very, very solid. The rest of the team are just secondary plays. I'd say the favorite of the rest of the three would be Fred VanVleet, even though he hasn't been able to hit a shot. Boucher, Gary Trent, there are guys that can nuke this slate if they come off the bench. They're scoring well, but you don't feel great about their minutes. And that's really it. It's really just kind of Pascal for me. OKC, the worst team to break down every night because of their lineups, but we know what we're getting from SGA. He looks great at 10-3. Giddey has upside. It's just he's more of that secondary play off of SGA. So I don't mind him, but I really just prefer getting the SGA. Ludort, kind of there. Don't love this price tag. Poku, great price. It's just the minutes are not there. With Kenrich Williams missing this game, that should be a little bit of a minutes bump for, the power forward centers, but no one really stands out. Jalen Williams is okay there at 4,500. He's seen the most minutes. I guess JRE looks solid. The minutes have been pretty solid and consistent for him. So 4,300, I'd say he'd be the favorite play besides SGA for me on his team. You can always take a look at Basley. Minutes haven't been great, but yeah, he should see maybe a few more with Kenrich Williams out. Onto Atlanta. Trae Young should be back for tonight, so he looks great. DeJounte Murray with Trae Young back. Prefer just getting to Trae. Clint Capella, I think he looks great there. Very foul prone, but with this matchup, he should be able to stay out of foul trouble, hopefully. So at 30-ish minutes, I love him there, that price tag with a double-double upside with a team like OKC shooting the ball. AJ Griffin and Jalen Johnson should start again. We'll see. Obviously, they slotted in Jarrett Culver as well. But with Capella or Collins and Hunter still out, AJ Griffin looks solid. He'll be the most aggressive of the three. 5,000, I think he looks very solid, even with DeJounte back. Same thing with Jalen Johnson, power forward. He has that double-double upside. Not going to shoot a ton like Culver. But yeah, they look solid depending on who they start. I think the guy I have the least amount of interest in is going to be Culver because Bogdan is back, played 22 minutes off the bench. If he has no minutes limit, like they say that tonight, I do like him a good amount there at 4,700, but I would assume they're going to limit him a little bit. So yeah, we'll have to see what the starting lineup is like. Obviously, I like everyone pretty much besides DeJounte. I'm not saying he's unplayable, but I just prefer getting to everyone else right now. Miami, I like Tyler and Bam a good amount. Prefer getting to Tyler at the price tag, but I think the whole starting five is playable. Obviously, they're going to play a ton of minutes. Strus, very boomer bust. And the rest of the team are just kind of there. Highsmith has been getting some minutes off the bench. He looks like an okay value play. Really just more of a 3-and-D guy. Same thing with Gabe Vincent. He does have some value. Dropped all the way down to 3,200. Does have some upside, so you can definitely look to those guys for value. You don't feel great about it. But yeah, it's pretty much just the starting five. Really like Tyler Hero in the spot against Memphis. Love Ja, 10-6. We know what we're getting from Jaren Jackson Jr. If he can stay out of foot trouble, he should see at least 30 minutes. Has massive, massive upside. So I think he'd be my favorite play on this Memphis side. Brooks just kind of there for me. Steven Adams, if he miss, obviously slots Clark into the starting lineup. He was great that last game. 35 fantasy points. He'd be great once again. Santi is playable. Should see about 20 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty much just Ja or Jackson Jr., depending on the starting lineup with Steven Adams. For Philly, Houston, love Embiid, love Harden. Harden, if he's not on a minutes limit, I think he looks fantastic. Prefer getting to him over Embiid, especially in that revenge game narrative. You just hope this game stays close. Embiid should go off for like 30 and 20, but we'll see if he stays out of foul trouble and if this game can stay close enough. But with them back, takes out any interest in the rest of the team. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that Harden news. Houston, I mean, they do look decent, especially the top three. You really got to pray to God that this game stays close. I'm not really sure how Sengun is going to be able to guard Embiid. So he's just very contrarian there at 6,000. Great price tag, has upside. It's just very, very foul prone in this situation against Embiid. I prefer getting to KPJ and Green with the nod to KPJ just because he's the main ball handler. A little bit better at the peripherals. Easton, Martin, Smith Jr., they're kind of there. I really don't see any priorities. Maybe Smith because he should shoot the ball more. Eric Gordon, seen minutes off the bench, but not a ton of interest in Houston. unless you're going to game stack that game, which would be very, very contrarian and risky, but could pay off big if it stays close. Phoenix, we got D-Book. Obviously, Booker looks great if Paul's out. If Paul's in, Book becomes more just a contrarian play at 10,000. I think it would obviously lower his ownership a ton. Ayton looks great. I think even with Paul back, Ayton looks very solid. If he's out, like him a little bit more because they have been looking to get him involved a ton. And even though Chris Paul does a good job of that, I just prefer, obviously, both of them if Chris Paul's out. Obviously, if Paul's in, takes interest out of these secondary guys. Bridges is priced up a little bit too much. Campaign, obviously, if Paul's in, not a ton of upside there. Craig, questionable. He's always just a decent value play there. But not a lot of interest in this side. Lee should see some minutes. Same with Sarge. Same with Rain White. Same thing with Shamit. But not enough to where I think they're viable, value plays, especially on a slate to like today. I think you really just ride the Indiana value and go from there. Obviously, with Dallas, the huge news is Christian Wood. If he's out, obviously that takes their main scorer off the bench away. Did play 35 minutes against Detroit. If he's in, I think he looks solid. If he's out, it's just obviously more on the shoulders for Luka and Dinwiddie and Hardaway. So those three would be my favorite. Don't think you need to get to anyone else on this team. I guess they're playable, but it's really just those three guys are going to be the ones shooting it. And then Indiana, obviously we know Halliburton's still out, so Nembhard 4,200 going to be the chalkiest and best value play of the day. Turner, I think that all three of these guys, Turner, Hield, and Mathurin, look great. Obviously, you just hope this game stays close because if it does, I'm assuming it's going to be the chalkiest game to stack and play because obviously Golden State doesn't play any defense. Both these teams like to play a little bit fast. Good amount of guys that can shoot and score. So really like this game. Obviously, everyone does, but I think that's where you get your value from and kind of build and get different from there. But yeah, I really like Turner, Hield, Mathurin. Matherin's obviously the riskiest of the bunch because the minutes aren't secure. Buddy going to be very popular coming off a huge game there. So yeah, love all those guys. Jalen Smith is just more of a pivot play, contrarian play there. He has massive upside. He just hasn't been seeing the minutes. And then Lyle TJ, if he's going to play, I'd assume maybe he starts. What to see alongside Nembhard. If they do, love both of them. I think it's viable to play both. They're a little bit way too cheap at their price tags if they're both going to start. Even if one comes off the bench, prefer playing at least two of them, if not 3 to 4 Pacers. So yeah, huge on the Pacers today. Going to be very risky, but yeah. Neith Smith just there. Jackson, Brissett going to see some minutes. Favorite punt play obviously is Jackson because he's a very solid point per minute guy. On to Golden State. Steph obviously looks fantastic. Could be a game where he goes for 50 real life points. Yeah, he looks great. Wiggins, Poole are questionable. If they're good to go, obviously it's just prefer Steph and Wiggins. If they're out or one of them's out, obviously we're gonna have to make some decisions. Clay, Draymond, more just tournament plays. Do like riding with Clay there for that price tag. Looney is just there, and he should play. I'd probably say 25 minutes around there. So I do think he makes for a decent play there at 4,500. DiVincenzo, Kuminga only viable if Poole or Wiggins are questionable. In terms of my core, I'm just gonna say obviously we don't have the news yet, but I'm gonna ride with Nembhard and McConnell. Buddy. And let's see. There's 4. Excuse me. I know it's all chalk. I'll try to get someone a little bit less chalky in there. Let's see here. I think it's gonna be Tyler Hero. Can't fit him in right now. Let's go Hero. So yeah, I think this is kind of the direction I'm going to go for tonight, guys. Obviously, you're going to get chalky, ride the chalk with that Indiana and Golden State game. Then I do like Tyler Hero. He looks great there at 7,100 against Memphis and a pace up spot for Miami. And yeah, from there, you're left with 6,000 if you want to use this. Obviously, you can make pivot plays go, kind of whatever direction you want. But yeah, if you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. I'll see you guys in my breakdown for tomorrow, along with my Patreon write-up for tomorrow night. Once again, not going to be able to do one for tonight, but I'll see you guys back on schedule for tomorrow.